Whether you are shipwrecked on an abandoned island or lost an Appalachian trail, it is always a good idea to know how to build a basic survival shelter. Today, I'm going to show you how to build a survival shelter in the Appalachian Mountains. Today, in my rucksack, I have a machete with a saw blade built in the back of it, basic knife and sheath, and a hatchet. Whenever you're building your shelter, it is always a good idea to base your shelter off of your necessities in the situation. If you're in an area with heavy flash floods, it's not a good idea to build your shelter near water. Or if you're in an area with a lot of venomous snakes or spiders, you might want to avoid fallen trees or rocks. Right here, I have water down the hill. I have nice cover and everything, a lot of kindling in case I need to make a fire. And this is where we're going to be building a shelter today. It's the type of shelter we're going to be building is called a lean-to shelter. It's easy to remember and fairly easy to build. So the basis of an A-frame shelter is you have two sticks up like this, one going across it as a support beam, a bunch of sticks coming off of it, touching the ground, and you have a roof on top of those. So the first thing we need to find is our two support beams. We need to find two sticks that are in the shape of a Y. We are going to use this right here. We're going to set our main support beam right here in this V in this tree. Then we're going to find another branch in the shape of a Y, put it in the ground right here at this deer poop, and we are going to put our support beam, our main support beam, going right across that. Another thing you need to watch for when you're choosing what branches or logs to make your shelter out of, another thing to take into consideration is the durability of the branch. This here, as I said, I needed a branch with a Y in it. This one's just about the right height, just about the right size, but if I were to put any weight on that at all, I would be covered in branches as soon as I step underneath that shelter. So you always need to watch for what branches you choose. This is my second support beam. You can see right up here, I have the Y in the tree. It's nice and live, you can see. So I'm going to be chopping this guy down, and I'm going to have to shorten it probably. I'm going to have to cut that top off. The top's completely dead. But this is going to be my support beam. Let's get chopping. Another point to make is if you ever have a hatchet and you go to chop down a tree, do not go right into the side of it. The best way to do it is think of a beaver chewing down a tree. They never have like a straight chainsaw bite. It's always at like a spike. That's because to save time and their teeth, they will chew all the way around the tree, taking it at an angle. You'll see here, if you chop it at an angle going down, it will take more chunks out. If I go straight into it, my axe gets stuck and I make no progress. Angle, straight in. Know how to chop a tree. Timber! That was anticlimactic. So now that we're done chopping the tree down, I'm gonna put this away. And now we're going to use the machete, but more specifically, the saw blade on the machete. Gotta put it right at the base of the tree. And just like that. So another piece of equipment I forgot to mention I had in my bag was paracord. Paracord's like a survival string, like an outdoor rope. You usually see it in like bracelets. People will use it for bracelets. But what we're going to use it for here is to help haul this log. I don't know how well this is going to work because this is pretty thin string, or paracord I should say. But we're going to make a knot called the Canadian Jam. Canadian Jam is meant it's kind of like a lasso, like a cowboy would use. So the first part in making Canadian Jam is you need to have your rope. On one end, you need to tie a knot. This one already had a knot in it, and I can't get it out right now, so I'm going to use that knot. Tie it right about there on the end of the rope. A little bit farther up from it, you want to start to tie another knot. To tie the knot, you just wrap it around, feed it up through like that. But right when you get here, you don't want to pull it shut. You then want to take the other end of the rope, feed it through there, and then you pull it shut. Right here is your lasso part. Now up here, at the end of this rope, the one that you just fed through there, you want to tie another knot. Now, you just grab hold of the string, pull it shut, and you have a Canadian Jam. Before we start dragging this log, we're going to take off the branches so we can drag it easier. So we're going to take our hatchet and just go up the log. This one here is even attached. Pew! And just take all these branches off. In an actual survival situation, this here, I wouldn't just be throwing it away. This here is all dead branches. You'd want to use this as fire kindling. Break it up, you know. That's nice and dry, you could use it for a fire. We're going to have a slight change of plans here. We're still going to be building a lean-to shelter, but we're just going to be building a different type of lean-to shelter. My original plan was to take my hatchet and narrow off, like make that more into a point and try to put it into the ground and make it into a shelter. But what we're going to do instead, I realized it would be a lot easier, is we're going to take this, we're actually going to use this other end. We're going to turn this tree around, put it in here just like this because that end's skinnier, and we are going to lay our branches off the sides like this. The entrance is going to be right around here. This is going to be kind of like a half teepee like the Indians would build, if you know what a teepee is. It's all about getting like the right height because you have to think how you're going to be laying down in this. And if it's too small for you, then it ain't gonna do you any good. But if it's too large for you, it won't hold in any heat. So you need to find the perfect mixture of big and small here. I laid out this stick here to tell, it's like a measurement stick pretty much, to tell how big the shelter is gonna be. I might find some that are a bit shorter than this because I don't want that big of an opening in my shelter. But I'm going to get more sticks like this, lay them diagonally. They're going to get shorter and shorter as they go down, and then I have a whole wall. I may not do it, but another thing to do is called a reflector wall, where you take a wall of logs and put it out into your entrance. And then you put a fire between you and that wall, and the heat from the wall, it will reflect all the heat back into your shelter, making like your own outdoor heating system. It's called a reflector wall. the last step that you're going to do is you're going to find pines, spruce, cedars, those type of branches, like anything evergreen. And you're going to put it on top of this and inside of here to make bedding and waterproofing, kind of like shingles. This is the type of tree we're looking for, something evergreen, like I said. We are going to take our knife. We are going to go up here and just whittle off the branch. And you take this, the needles on a pine, spruce, or anything of the sort is a nice water repellent. You want to put it on top of your shelter and weave it in between the branches, or the branches, like so. So we have here, we put the pine branches on the other side of this. It won't completely protect you from the rain or anything else like that, but it will do a little bit. If you cover it completely, we didn't really, this is just a demonstration obviously, but you would cover this completely and you'd basically have a whole shingled roof pretty much. So now, you can see I cleared down here, I cleared all the leaves out down here. Now what we're gonna want to do is we got a couple more pine branches. If you just sleep on this, at night, if you lay on the forest floor, you'll lose, I forget what percentage of body heat it is, but you will lose a great percentage of body heat just by laying on the bare forest floor. So, to prevent that from happening, this isn't gonna be the most comfortable thing in the world. It's no mattress, Tempur-Pedic. You just wanna lay it in here. If you have any big knots like this, you want to get as little stick as possible. Like this here, all this here, we don't need this. This is the only thing with actual pine branches on it. We're just gonna take this out, throw that in there. Like, you're gonna have sticks obviously, but you want to have as little sticks as possible. So you whittle it down with your knife and you have that. Break that up. Whoop. Or you could do that, just pull it off completely. This is the other method. It's more time consuming, but you just kind of take all of them off and put them down. Then you won't get any sticks. Obviously you can still see through it, but this is just for demonstration. If this was an actual one, we would cover that completely in pine branches, but we're not going to strip down all the pines in the forest just for a video. But you have your pine bedding, pine shingling, support beam, side branches. Build your fire right here, but not so close that the embers are going to hit the beams, because then you'll be covered in ashes. And there you have it. Survival shelter in the Appalachian Mountain.